All right, today we are diving into a pretty unique guide to journaling. See, this one is narrated by, of all things, an ancient, fire-breathing dragon named Zoran the Flame-Tongued. And he's got this wild idea that your journal, it's the single most valuable treasure you could ever possibly own.
And that quote right there is the heart of this entire philosophy. For Zoran, a journal isn't some dusty, forgotten book you scribble in. No. It's a sacred object. It's a hoard where you keep your most priceless asset, your memories. Forget gold, forget gems, those things tarnish. Memories are the only treasures that truly last forever.
So, you might be wondering, why would a creature as powerful as a dragon even bother with a journal? Well, for Zoran, it's simple. Because memory is the one treasure that time can't touch, and your journal is the vault you build to keep it safe.
Zoran completely flips the script on what a diary is. You know, where we mortals might see a place for just fleeting thoughts or daily to-do lists, he sees a scale scroll. Picture this, an obsidian tablet where experiences are literally etched in fire. For him, writing isn't just recording what happened, it's a sacred act. It's how you transform a simple experience into an everlasting legacy.
He tells this story about how he used to scorch his greatest triumphs onto the sides of mountains. But even mountains crumble to dust, right? The real treasures, the things that actually lasted, were the memories he kept. He calls this his memory hoard. A collection of recollections that you polish with your own thoughts until they shine brighter than any ruby.
And here we go, our first challenge from the dragon himself. He calls it a worm trial. It's a really simple but powerful way to get started. First, just think of one single memory you want to keep forever. Then, really feel the emotions that come with it. And finally, make a commitment, right now, to protect that memory. That's it. That's how you lay the first jewel in your own hoard.
Okay, so let's head to the forge. This next part is all about the alchemy, the real how-to. Zoran's going to show us the practical steps for turning our own thoughts into treasure.
And this is where things get really cool. This blend of modern science and ancient legend. On one hand, neuroscience tells us journaling literally activates your prefrontal cortex, giving you more clarity and cutting down on anxiety. And Zoran's version? He says he used his scale scrolls to see right through a sorcerer's illusions. See, it's really two sides of the very same coin. Journaling is a tool for finding focus and seeing the truth.
So what kind of journal should you even keep? Well, Zoran lays out 4 main paths. You could have a gratitude journal to, as he says, fortify the spirit, or a dream journal to catch those riddles wrapped in flame. There's the rage journal, because it's better to scorch paper with fury than burn bridges. And finally, the legacy journal. Humans call them memoirs. Dragons, well, they call it immortality.
But what about your tools? Digital apps versus a physical book. Zoran compares apps to enchanted mirrors. They're quick, they're versatile, but they can easily get lost and just gather virtual dust. A classic leather-bound book, on the other hand, is an ancient artifact. Durable, tangible, and free of distractions. But you know what? In the end, he says the tool doesn't really matter. What matters is the fire, the intention you bring to the page.
All right, time for our next worm trial. This one makes it real. First, recall a moment of really high emotion, good or bad. Next, reflect on how that felt in your body. Like, where did you feel it? Then, just pick one of those journal types we just talked about and commit to writing for just 10 minutes a day for 1 week. That's how you ignite your ink.
Now we're getting into the daily practice. To make this whole thing a real habit, Zoran offers 2 super powerful rituals. One for the morning, which he calls Dawn Embers, and one for the evening, the Twilight Scrolls. The Dawn Embers ritual is all about clearing out the mental clutter. It's just a stream of consciousness brain dump to get rid of yesterday's fog. And he has this fantastic rule. Write 3 lines in your journal before you even think about touching your phone. He calls your phone a goblin that you have to starve of attention first thing in the morning. I love that.
Then, at the end of the day, it's time for your Twilight Scroll. These prompts are just designed to help you gather up all the scattered threads of your day. What made your scales shimmer today? What brought you joy? What loot did you leave behind? Any missed opportunities? What fires burned brightest? It's all about finding the wisdom to carry with you into tomorrow.
And here's the trial to really lock that habit in. Step 1, put your journal right by your bed. Easy. Step 2, the moment you wake up, just write. Freely, for only 5 minutes. Then, step 3, once a week, read back through your entries and look for patterns. It's so simple, but it's an incredibly powerful way to stoke that inner fire.
Okay, now we're going to dive into the deepest part of this whole quest. Zoran calls it ink blood and shadow work. He frames this not as something scary, but as a dance with the dragon that's lurking inside your own soul.
And he just rips the Band-Aid off with this incredibly powerful, direct question. What would that hidden part of you, the part you ignore or push away, what would it say if you finally gave it a voice? This is where we're invited to really look at the things we normally avoid. And these questions, these are the tools for that deep exploration. They are not meant to be easy, but Zoran says they're designed to help you dig up treasures you've buried beneath your own fears. I mean, think about it. What you envy in others, that's just a mirror showing you exactly what you desire for yourself.
And what about those really tough, powerful emotions like anger? For that, Zoran introduces what he calls volcanic entries. He compares anger to lava. You can either let it consume you and everything around you, or you can channel it safely onto the page where it can be used to shape new mountains in your life instead of just burning everything down.
Now, after you've poured all that rage out, Zoran suggests a burn ritual. It's this beautiful, symbolic act of transmutation. You're literally turning that fiery anger into ashes, and Zoran claims those ashes become fertile soil for your own personal growth.
And here it is, the deepest trial of them all. It pulls together everything we've just seen. You answer one of those shadow work prompts every day for a week. Then you write a kind, compassionate letter to a younger version of yourself. And finally, you perform that ritual to integrate and release everything you've uncovered. It's a full cycle of transformation.
And so we arrive at the final stage. This is where all that inner work builds towards something bigger, something lasting. The ultimate prize here isn't just self-discovery. It's about forging a legacy that will actually outlive you.
To do this, Zoran introduces the idea of an ethical will. This has nothing to do with your stuff or your money. This is a letter, a gift of your very essence, where you pass down your wisdom, your values, your hopes. Like he says, gold tarnishes, but wisdom glows eternally.
And that's really the big takeaway. Your journal is your voice. It's your power. It is your roar. It's how you make your mark on the world and ensure that your spirit and your ideas echo long, long after you're gone.
And so we end with Zoran's final challenge to you. This was never just about finishing a journal. It's about starting a story that has no end. A legacy that keeps unfolding with every single word you write. So, what's your first sentence going to be?